If you'd told me 81 weeks ago that losing 45 pounds would not be the most important change on a GLP-1, I totally would have thought you were pulling my leg. But looking back now in maintenance, I can totally see so many differences that don't have to do with the scale. So today I'm sharing the biggest changes I've noticed between now and BG, before GLP-1s. If you're just getting started on GLP-1s, I want you to know what else you might have to look forward to besides losing weight. And the last one is the funnest, and also why I'm curled up in a recliner with a blankie. Okay, let's go. If you're new here, hi, I'm Bobby. I have been sharing my GLP-1 health journey after menopause for the past 81 weeks. I'm not a medical doctor, and I am a therapist, but I'm not your therapist. So always talk to your own healthcare providers when you're figuring out what to do for yourself. So real quick, I had gained weight after menopause and was obese for the first time in my life. I weighed in at 210.1 pounds when I started a GLP-1, and right now I'm in maintenance at 165 pounds, and I'm 5 foot 9 inches tall. I'm maintaining on 10 milligrams of Zepbound, and when that's working for me, it means that my appetite is regulated. I'm not thinking about food all the time. I don't have a lot of food noise. So let's talk about what's changed. Obviously, my weight has changed, but the whole point of this video is that there's more to GLP-1s than just that, so I'll be brief here. I already mentioned that I lost 45 pounds and my start weight and my maintenance weight, but I wanted to add a couple of quick notes. One is that my rate of loss was average 2/3 of a pound a week lost, and I did struggle through a lot of that, feeling like it was slow when actually that's a healthy rate of loss. And I don't mean to diminish the weight loss aspect of my health journey, because me getting healthier did require losing some weight, more specifically losing body fat. And that brings me to the second big change, which is body composition. I have been tracking my body composition on my Hume Body Pod, and when I compare at the beginning of my GLP-1 journey to now, I'll put the numbers up here for the body fat percentage and for lean mass in pounds. That's how I'm tracking body composition. You do lose some lean mass when you lose a bunch of weight, but I'm definitely stronger from strength training and backpacking. I definitely have more muscle definition, and preserving my lean mass and losing body fat has been a big part of my health goals.
Editing Bobby. So I feel like I kind of glossed over the loss of lean mass, and I wanted to just say a couple things about it. One is that loss of lean mass is not the same as loss of skeletal muscle. Lean mass includes skeletal muscle, but it also includes organs, water, connective tissue, blood volume, all kinds of things. That's why I am not concerned that I lost lean mass overall, because my body shrunk, and so I've got less water, less of those other things. But I know I'm stronger. I know I'm stronger. I've got muscles that I did not used to have. And that loss of lean mass is just something that happens when you lose weight.
If you're enjoying this, please feel free to hit like and subscribe and share it with someone who you think might enjoy this. It really helps the YouTube algorithm to know who to show it to when it gets likes and comments and so forth. I love hearing from people in the comments, so always feel free to drop your thoughts below. I also have an email newsletter that I send out about every 2 weeks. I'll put the link here, and I'll also put the link in the description to sign up for the newsletter. I will not flood your email inbox with emails. I really will just send you an email about every 2 weeks. It's more just sharing things that didn't fit into my videos or that I didn't want to put in my videos. So yeah, sign up for my email newsletter if you'd like to. Thanks. I am at my sister's house in California this week after my backpacking trip. And I'm working, I'm seeing clients, I'm visiting my sister, and my legs are killing me. So I will talk more about that later. The next thing that changed is my health markers. And this changed actually a lot earlier than my weight. I think I was only down about 10 pounds when my blood pressure returned to a normal range and when my A1C returned to the normal range. So that was a huge relief for me and a sign that I was on the right track. My cholesterol went down a little bit, but it's still a little bit elevated. And all of these lab results before the GLP-1, no matter how much I exercised and ate right, they just kept creeping up and up into the, less and less healthy ranges. So even before I got to maintenance, I felt like my labs were showing that I was a lot healthier on a GLP-1. Unsurprisingly, since I've lost weight, my size and my measurements have changed on a GLP-1. My waist circumference started out above a cutoff for a recommended waist circumference for women. I was actually 3 months into my GLP-1 journey, so you can see that my waist circumference was a little bit above a healthy range, and I had already lost, probably after 3 months, I think I'd lost maybe 12 pounds or something. And, I know that I was smaller, so I'm not sure what my waist circumference was when I started, but 3 months in, it was not healthy, and now it is. And that's a really important health marker for all kinds of risk factors. When I look at my measurements from this Me 360 app, I don't like taking my measurements with a measuring tape, so finding that app was helpful. I just use the free version. There's a paid version, and I don't know what premium features it has, but I just do the free scan. And here's my most recent one, and you can look at how much the measurements have changed. And also my size, in terms of my clothing size, has changed. I was probably a size 14, but I called myself a size 12. And my clothes were stretchy. I was in a little bit of denial, and I was buying extra large when I bought clothes that, were sold in small, medium, large. And then pretty early in my GLP-1 journey, I was starting to fit into my larges, and the 12s were becoming more comfortable. So I was basically wearing extra larges and tight larges and tight size 12s. And now I'm wearing mediums and larges and size 10. And larges are sometimes a little baggy on me, but I kind of like baggy. Like this shirt is a large and it's a little baggy on me, and it's comfortable that way. What surprised me about the clothing sizes is how long it took for them to really change in any kind of noticeable way. I thought at the beginning of my GLP-1 journey, like, oh wow, by the time the summer comes, which was, 5 or 6 months away, I was thinking I'm gonna need a whole new wardrobe. I totally didn't need a new wardrobe. And it wasn't until about a year into my journey that I really started to have to go through my closet and, get rid of clothes that were just starting to get way too big on me, and to go through older clothes and find things that hadn't fit in a really long time that I could wear now. So it wasn't really that fast, but I chalk that up to the fact that my weight loss wasn't that fast, and also that most of the fabrics that my clothes are made out of are pretty stretchy. So they're very forgiving, and I could wear the same pair of jeans because they had so much spandex in them. I could wear them through like 2 or 3 sizes of clothing, and they would fit me. The clothing sizes, I'm reflecting right now on how positive a thing it is for me to go buy size 10s instead of 12s or extra larges. I never bought anything in a size 14, which is interesting. I think it was that denial. But anyway, the size of my body wasn't something that really bothered me. So I'm buying a size 10 now, and instead of thinking like that's really great and so much better than a 12 or 14, I don't know, I didn't have a lot of unhappiness about how I looked 45 pounds heavier. I like my curves, and there wasn't really anything back then that I couldn't do that I can do now. So when I look at pictures, it's like, well, yeah, I look healthier now. And I see some pictures from me at my heaviest, and I'm kind of surprised, like, oh wow, I forgot that I looked that way. But I think losing 45 pounds, like I said, I could still do back then all the things that I do now. It's easier, I'm more fit, and I'm not carrying around extra weight, but I could have done them before. So the sizes are nice, but honestly, the health markers give me way more of like a natural high to think about my health markers being healthy than to think about, wearing a smaller size of pants. The next thing that changed that I didn't really expect is my sense of empowerment. I'm not someone who struggled lifelong with obesity. In fact, I was able to manage my weight through, lifestyle modification until after menopause. And then no matter what I did, my weight just kept creeping up until I started a GLP-1. So everything that had been working stopped working, and I was trying so hard to be healthy. It was like a freaking part-time job to do all the things to try to be healthy. And it was kind of this learned helplessness thing where I just started to feel really unempowered because no matter what I did, my health kept getting worse. So starting the GLP-1, I know that the medication is the tool and it helped my metabolism. Missy, can you see this dog? She's whining because my sister's not home. Her mommy's not home. Missy, come here. Anyway, oh my God, the automatic dog feeder. Where was I? So it was really unempowering. I had this sense that there was nothing I could do that could positively affect my health. And I gotta say, my doctors were not helpful. My PCP, when I told her how hard I was working to be healthy and to get my blood pressure down and to get my weight down and get my cholesterol down, she just kind of said, well, try harder. And then I went to my gynecologist for a routine appointment, and I was telling her how I was struggling with my weight and I was, trying to lose weight. And she basically said that I was probably just eating more than I thought I was eating. And I knew for a fact that wasn't true because I was tracking and I was eating in a calorie deficit. And it was just, like I said, unempowering. And once I started this medication, all of the choices that I made started to matter. Eating healthy made me feel healthier and made me lose weight. And exercising made me get stronger and leaner. So I just felt the sense of empowerment that, yes, I can affect my health. And GLP-1 medication is the tool that restored my ability to improve my health through the choices I make. Someone in the comments of one of my videos reminded me that the original use of GLP-1s was for metabolic health for people with diabetes. Then when it became apparent that people had decreased appetite and lost weight on this medication, marketing took over, and weight loss is such a huge industry that now everyone knows these as weight loss medications, but really they're like metabolic healing medications. And that's what it did to me. It gave me my healthy metabolism back that I somehow lost after menopause. And feeling like I can affect my health now and that the choices that I make matter has just been such a game changer, because now I'm more likely to make choices that are good because I feel like there'll be a positive outcome from it. Okay, this is one of the big things that changed. It's the food noise. I had not heard of food noise before I started a GLP-1, but it turns out I'd had it my whole life. And when it went away and I just had so much more time to think about other things besides food, it's been just a real game changer for me to have more mental energy and time to focus on other things. If you haven't heard of food noise, it's basically an almost constant internal chatter about food that occupies your thoughts, regardless of whether you're actually physically hungry or not. Like, for example, endless loops about what you're going to eat at your next meal or what might be available for snacking on, and thinking about past or future food choices, dreaming about eating something in particular. I just thought all of that was normal. Before the GLP-1, I thought I was just hungry all the time. That was the food noise, which I mistook for hunger and a disproportionate love of food or something. I don't know. It was so weird. I realize now that I couldn't really discriminate between food that I'd eaten and food that I had just been thinking about. So a mealtime might come and I wouldn't recognize how hungry I was because I'd been thinking about food all day. So part of me felt like I must have been eating all day. And it just got me totally out of sync with physical hunger cues. So being that out of touch with my hunger cues leads me to the next change on GLP-1s, which is my relationship with food and hunger. This has been a slower shift, and one I could probably devote an entire episode to talking about my relationship to hunger and food. But I at least wanted to highlight it here because it has been a big change that I didn't even know I needed to make before GLP-1. Because the food noise is quiet and gone most of the time, I can recognize now when I have physical hunger, especially recently in maintenance, because in weight loss mode, when my appetite started to increase, I would up my dose because I wanted to continue to lose weight, so I wanted that appetite suppression. But right now in maintenance, I want normal hunger. And so, my hunger is coming back at this dose, but instead of increasing my dose, I'm just staying at this dose and enjoying being able to feel hungry for breakfast and hungry for lunch and ready for dinner. It's really nice. And when I'm not hungry, I'm not really thinking about food. And when I am hungry, I'm thinking about food and eating. Now I can just eat meals at mealtime and have more mental energy the rest of the time for hobby or families or work or friends or whatever. But all of those things that I thought were hunger, it was all up in my head. And now my hunger is based more out of my body. Okay, the next change that the GLP-1 has given me is improved fitness and renewed interest in outdoor activities. It's not something that GLP-1 directly does. It doesn't improve your fitness, but I think getting freed from all the food noise, feeling really empowered in my body to make changes, seeing results from exercising, all of those things have enabled me to kind of go down a fitness road that I didn't anticipate going down. Also, the lack of inflammation and the better recovery from workouts. I think that GLP-1s and the way that they reduce inflammation has been really helpful too. I've said this before in other episodes that my nature is kind of sloth-like. Like right now, I'm cuddled up under a blanket and it's like this is my happy place. But I've always tried to exercise regularly, and for the most part I have, not because I've necessarily loved it, but because it just felt like a non-negotiable for my physical health and for my mental health. And now that I've gotten older, it's definitely become a non-negotiable for bone density and lean muscle mass and mobility and balance and all those things. It's kind of a use it or lose it thing when you get older. So I'm sort of training for my old age. So I'm going to exercise regardless. And I knew that before GLP-1, after GLP-1. But what's changed is that I've become really passionate and really enjoying backpacking, which I dabbled in a little bit years ago, and I did enjoy it, but I feel more ambitious about it now and more excited about it now. It's much more rigorous than my usual goal to maintain a certain level of fitness by going to the gym and working out for my health. This is more like, I want to go on this particular trip, and in order to do this backpacking trip, I need to have this certain level of fitness to be able to accomplish it. I just got back from a 5-day, 4-night backpacking trip that I never could have done on my own. It was a guided trip, and the guides, I have no idea if they'll ever see this. I didn't really talk to them about my YouTube channel, but they were amazing. I learned so much from them, and the other participants were all phenomenal people. It was such a great experience. But I gotta tell you, my legs are sore. They are sore. I got back 2 days ago and my legs are still sore, but that's okay. They're not sore in a bad injured way. They're just sore because I did a lot of up and down mountains wearing a backpack. And what do GLP-1s have to do with that? Well, it's not that I couldn't have done this before, but honestly, the thought of doing that trip with 45 extra pounds on my body, I don't know if I could have done it. I probably could have done it, but I don't know if I could have enjoyed it. And I did enjoy it this time. And keeping up with the group for the most part, sometimes I was the slow one, and not injuring myself. I know that's a direct result of being on this medication, which allowed me to finally lose weight, which decreased my inflammation. It allowed me to work out harder without hurting myself and get into shape to do a trip like this. I pushed myself more on this trip than I would have if I'd gone on a solo trip because I was keeping up with a group. And to be able to do that and not get injured is something that I'm really grateful for. Thanks so much for watching to the end. I will see you next week. Bye.